down about the team from their hometown. Josh the key on touchdown. Rodgers to Wilson touchdown. You gonna laugh, you gonna cry, but these two are ride or die. They'll take you all the way to the Super Bowl or the exhibition game. Stay with them all the way to the Hall of Fame.
And welcome back to another edition of Official Word Sports. I'm Vince, and I'm here with my co-host Stevie D. And this is the first podcast that neither of us have any stake in what's going on.
This one hurts a little bit more for you than it does for me. I've had a few weeks to digest. No Jets football.
It is. You think about it, and it's like, all right, keys to victory. None. Right? Hit the ball straight. Right? Stay out the sand. Avoid the water. Players to watch. I guess Josh at a pro-am or something like that.
But you know what's interesting? As we get into the Super Bowl,
Or
my allegiance, as you can see, is green for the Eagles. Well, your red with Buffalo is allegiance to Kansas City, so that's shocking.
Very, very good observation. It isn't.
I don't know. I see Bills Mafia in red. I see the Buffalo logo's got some red in there.
The white in Jets goes with Kansas City's white.
Or I could go white with the Eagles with the green with the Eagles. I don't know.
My red goes with the red Gatorade that they're going to toss us Sirianni. Oh, man. This is tough. I'm not going to lie. You run it all the way through the season, and it's so funny how we talk about when we get to training camp, we're like, oh, we're only weeks away. And then the season starts, and how quickly it goes from opening week to now where we are. And as I said, we've always had, I'm not going to use the term that everybody likes, but we've always had some skin in the game, right? Either one of us, bye weeks or whatever.
Right,
we always had some skin in the game. We have none. Except for the hatred for, let me be fair. Let me be 100% fair. I don't hate the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't. I don't like how there is favoritism towards certain teams. That's what I don't like. And I think on our last show, we talked about was depending where you are in the pecking order against your opponent, you get the favoritism. Buffalo has definitely been a benefactor with some calls when you play lower echelon teams. We have, right? And to turn a blind eye to that's just being naive and just not really watching it. But when you go up against a team, you just hope that it's going to be called fair, and it isn't. It's Stevie D. One of the funniest things happened during Super Bowl week. Roger Goodell gets out there, and Roger Goodell is just adamant, absolutely adamant, that the games are not rigged, that the officiating has been good, and all of this. And then the officials, the head of the officials gets out there, and they have their statement. Don't know what you're talking about. The officials do each team twice a year, blah, blah, blah. Stevie D, I'm going to tell you one thing. If you have to come out and make a statement, then you know something is wrong. Period. Point blank, period. There was no need to address it. No need. And especially by the officials.
Because you're giving credence to what somebody said or half the nation is saying. So if you don't address it, then right? I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, it was loud for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Right. It was loud for the Patriots. and it was never addressed. And it's been loud for Kansas City, and now it's been addressed. And I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know if it's because of sports betting. Do they have to say that there's nothing going on to defend themselves against sports betting? When the Patriots were in their dynasty days, sports betting was not like it is today, where the NFL's one is promoting it.
Yep.
Right. And look, I mean, not to change subjects of sport, but a major league umpire for baseball just got fired.
He sure did.
Right. So, not for nothing. And I hear the argument with the referees. You think that they're thinking of a split session decision that they got to throw the flag for Kansas City? Look, Tim Donahue or Hunyu for NBA got busted. He had to make split session decisions, and it's not decisions the way he did it. It wasn't like the big technical or whatever. It's those little things. Those little things add up in crucial spots where the official says, you know what, I'm going to take my shot here right now, right? Whether it's a hold call, a legal shift, or neutral zone with the helmets over the line, to call it, not to call it, or whatever the case may be. You just don't know. I'm sorry, I don't want to be that guy or that conspiracy theory, but to say that wholeheartedly it's not is not right. If you remember, on the East Coast, I think it was UMass. I don't think it was Boston College. The point shaving incidents, right? I know it's not betting.
I think that was BC.
Was it BC? I just know one of those East Coast schools in Massachusetts, I forget which one, had a point because the mob, Henry Hill, right? Well documented. Henry Hill was part of that scam, right?
Yeah.
A little bit here, a little bit there, right? Guy that normally has a great shooting night, a little bit off, right? Tim Donahue, the referee, little call here, little. I'm just saying, right? And just sports betting is a big deal, and to dismiss that it cannot happen, I understand the stance the NFL has to take. No, right? Because they can't say, well, yeah, maybe. I mean, what else is he going to say? I'm just not naive to it, right? Like it's the old saying, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn if you want to buy it, right? You're not going to get me. I'm not naive. So either way, again, for me, I'm not like that with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm open, and I've told a lot of people this. I'm more jealous and envious of the success that program has had for sustained time, because my organization can't get out of its own way. And yes, am I tired of seeing Kansas City win? But it's a jealousy thing. It's an envious thing, because as a fan, man, to have that, whether you get calls or not, like, you kidding me? This is like your nirvana as a fan. You wish in your lifetime you had a dynasty type of run with your organization. I had mine with the Yankees, so yes, at least in my lifetime I've had sustained success. You're Kansas City, man, you're in your glory. Everybody else hates it. I'm just, like I said, jealous and envious of anything.
Well, again, like we said, you don't have to acknowledge, right? But I will say one more thing as a Bills fan. This is going to be the second time, Stevie D. This is going to be the second time that after just a bitter Bills loss, that all of a sudden the NFL is going to miraculously make a change, right? And so they are really, really serious about having some way to electronically identify the position and location of the ball. Seriously, you're going to do that now? Don't do that. And as a Buffalo sports fan with a skate in the crease, right? Now all of a sudden we have to change the rule, right? And then you have 13 seconds and you have the whole overtime. Well, let's change the rule. And so now, when the first down wasn't given to us where it should have been spotted, now they're going to say, oh, we're going to put some sort of mechanism that'll allow us to be able to identify the accurate positioning of the ball. Well, tennis has been doing it for years. You watch tennis, and they can tell you in a split second where that ball, whether it was on the line, whether it was in, or whether it was out. Why in such a popular sport that generates so much revenue, international? I mean, you want to play all over the globe. Why can't you do it? and now you've had your hand forced because everybody's in an uproar, and so now all of a sudden here we go. But you're welcome, NFL. Thank you for the Buffalo Bills being robbed, being cheated.
Well, Brian Davis wrote on my feed, because I can't bring it up on the chat, but he says, how do you know, how can you do that when you don't know when forward progress has stopped? I guess to the point you were just making about there. So I was a little late. I'm sure I was just going through the chats and stuff like that. So it may have been a little bit too late to bring that point up. But sorry, Brian. But also, Ken wrote on. Ken, you guys got to go to OW Sports if you want. Go to the OW Sports feed and bring it up through there, and then in your comments can come on the air so we can share them, because you guys have great thoughts and we'd love to answer questions and stuff like that. What's up, Rob? Ken mentioned here. What about the refs coming to the sideline again? A little outdated here, Vince. So my apologies here. What about the refs coming to the sideline and chat with Josh? If it had been Mahomes, you guys would have been throwing a fit. So, Ken, I replied to you, but so it came out what that conversation was about, and the referee was actually scolding Josh Allen. Okay, he was scolding him for something that happened on the field, and the referee chased him down to make sure he doesn't do it again. So that's what that was all about, because it got a lot of headlines, but nobody knew what it was, and finally it came out that the ref was actually scolding Josh Allen for something he did on the field. So it wasn't where the ref was like the fix is in. It was Josh was getting scolded.
Ken, do we want to go there? Do we want to go there?
But anyway,
how does Travis Kelce get fined $11,000 and not get a flag?
No.
I'm just saying. Deion Dawkins got fined $6,000, and he bumped him.
So what about? Oh, is that what it happened? Okay, so he did get fined for the
Dawkins got
bumping
fined, but he got fined half of what Kelce did because Kelce should have got a penalty.
Mahomes didn't get fined for throwing the football like that.
Come on now, Steve.
I know Teflon Don over there. Nothing can happen to him.
Come on.
Hey! Just remember, what goes around comes around. You're the golden boy until you're not. Tom Brady knows all about it.
Oh yeah, he does. All right. Speaking of golden boy, Stevie D, I know we are called Official Word Sports for a reason. We take just like you got the Tampa Bay Rays behind you, right? We talk a little bit about baseball.
That's for you, by the way. That's for you for in season. Just so you know, I put that on there for you.
Spring training opening game. We go up against the vaunted New York Yankees. That ought to be a thriller.
Well, you know what? I just find it funny that the Rays playing their home games at Steinbrenner Field. Who's your daddy? Yeah, that's right, baby. We have to take you guys in because your crappy stadium can't even hold a little hurricane. Come on.
You hear this? You hear this? We allow you to come into our city. We take the revenue.
Thank God you did, because you guys wouldn't have a place to play.
May have to drive a little bit. But Stevie D, we talk about it all, right?
Yep.
What is the funny thing? What was the biggest story, the biggest sports story, except for in Buffalo? Because in Buffalo, that same day, Tage Thompson took a vicious elbow to the head, right? Shoulder, elbow to the head. Falls to the ice. It was like a Scott Stevens hit, right? Matter of fact, we were playing New Jersey. It was like a Scott Stevens hit. He's laid out on the ice. You got 4 other guys out there. You're like, okay, let's bring it. And they just promptly just lined up watching the trainer attend to him. New Jersey's looking around thinking that, we're about to get into something. And not one thing happened. Nobody dropped the gloves. Nobody
didn't retaliate?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Lindy Ruff, what do we got going on here, buddy? You're from the old school.
Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you. There's 2 things. Lindy, in front of the mic, in front of the cameras, was already like on 7, but was trying to control it. I can tell you for a fact, inside the locker room, Lindy was like on 11 because after they interviewed the guys in the locker room and the heads were down. I'm sorry,
Good for Lindy.
so I mean, Lindy was hard nosed as a player, hard nosed as a coach. Everybody remembers the Ottawa series, right? When they went after Drury, and that was it, right? You had Coletta, Adam Mayer, I forget the Andrew Peters, and we just went after everybody, right? And then you had Peters and Emery. Emery and Buran was the goalie fight. Peters jumped in.
Buran.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was the one of the greatest hockey fights ever, right? But we don't have that in the 2024-25 Sabres. Bunch of just I don't have anything that I can say nice about what happened out there. Because you're supposed to stand up. However, while that was happening in the 716 DVD, this was happening across the world. So, this one's hard to explain. It really is so hard to explain. You look at Luka. So you had Luka Doncic traded for Anthony Davis. I can't explain it. You can say two superstars get traded for each other, but they're not. People can say what they want about Anthony Davis. They're not. Luka is a young, 25-year-old kid
25.
in the league that is dominating at an early age. Yes, he has some issues that he has to overcome, right? Issues like he doesn't keep himself in shape, right? That's a big issue.
Tell that to Barkley,
right? But being out of shape will lead you to getting injured, right? So that he's gone.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Anthony Davis gets hurt all the time, and he's in good shape, right? So we're both guys were hurt at the time of the trade. But you're trading Luka. Luka, think about this, Stevie D. Luka, at such a young age, his popularity not only here or not only in Dallas, and not only here in the States, but we're talking across the globe, international. He's close to showy with that type of fame that he has. And you're going to trade that piece. He's the same guy that led you to the NBA Finals single-handedly. Yeah, you had Kyrie, but Kyrie wasn't really doing much. He was off and on. It was Luka. He's the guy that took you. And you trade him. Oh, there's more behind that story.
Well, right. Like, this is where my conspiracy theories come out. Does the NBA say, we got this, the only guy that's been a 5-time first team All Pro, and he's wasting him away in the city of Dallas for basketball? And let's get him to the big city. Like, I just.
You're right.
Like, it's just weird. Why would Dallas trade him?
Well,
I think you're going to get into some things, but I got to tell you one thing. If I'm Luka, I'm screwed on my contract, and now I go from no state tax to state tax in California. That's got the highest state tax.
yeah,
And just, oh my God, you're talking about losing millions and millions and millions of dollars. Oh man.
So Nico Harrison is the general manager for the Dallas Mavericks. First of all, I'm gonna say this right out. If Cuban was still the majority owner of the Mavericks, this never goes down. Never.
He didn't know about the trade.
No.
They didn't consult him on the trade. And
No.
He came out and said that he was not consulted on the trade.
He had made statements. He made a statement. He said, if I was faced with the option of trading Luka or getting a divorce, I'll see you at my attorney's office. Right. He loves Luka. So you know that if he was the owner, that wouldn't have happened. But moreover, we talk about Nico Harris, right? Same guy during the Western Conference Finals. Luka, after the Mavericks had won, Luka's standing on the side with everybody else, drinking a beer, and he's got to go in front of him. The GM comes by, and you can watch the video. It's all up on YouTube. The GM comes by and didn't snatch it, but just takes the beer out of Luka's hand, right? Like, and Luka gives this look like, "What are you doing?" Right? Whatever, right? Whatever. I'll go get another one. I could go buy a case. I could go buy a keg. Whatever. But you could tell that there's something not right there with that. And then to your point, right? Nico Harrison didn't reach out. I think he reached out to two teams to see if they were interested. But he really was focused on LA. Why? Well, I think you're right. That's another part of like punishing or trying to get back at Luca because now he's got to pay the state tax. Also, Luca no longer is eligible for that supermax deal. He lost about $120 million. $120 million because of this trade. Because the supermax only applies to the team that drafted you. So when you start to look at all of this, and just like Rob said, they didn't talk to him. They didn't say, "Hey, Luca, things aren't working out." And to be honest with you, if I'm Rob Pelinka, I just Christmas came early and late, right? I get rid of Anthony Davis and I get Luca. My brand is already what it is. It'll always be that big brand, but I increase it my overseas. I increase it what I'm going to get here, and all the while you have almost like a riff, and this guy's like, "I got you." Well, you don't have me because the Mavericks. I don't care. Anthony Davis will give you about out of it 82 games, will give you about what 60. You're going to be in the play-in game, and you'll be out. All the while, the Lakers will be good. Go ahead, Stevie D.
So the Luca contract and I think you called it a super max deal. I guess that's a term that they
Yeah.
have in the NBA. I guess there's a max deal and a super max deal.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Couldn't he just, in one way or another? What's up, Joey? How you doing, buddy? Hope everything's
Uh-oh.
going well.
Uh-oh. The glue.
The glue. All
The-
right.
All
But
right.
okay, so couldn't he just sign a 1 year deal, gamble on a 1 year deal, and then come back and sign a super max deal with the Lakers?
He could sign a large deal, but he can't get that supermax.
Because that wasn't the team that drafted him.
Yeah.
So you could only get a super max deal from the team that drafted you. Interesting. Okay,
So,
learn something new.
poor Luca. Poor Luca.
Well, in fairness, at least he's in LA. The commercials are going to be through the roof. Everybody's going to want him. He'll make a ton of money in endorsements. So that's what Jenny Buss will sell him if he's crying that he lost out on the Supermax deal.
For sure. For sure. So, you look around sports, and obviously we're heavy on the NFL, heavy on football. But you look around sports, and sometimes things just make you scratch your head. And we look at what some of the GMs do here in the NFL, and you're constantly like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Why are you paying Deshaun Watson all this money guaranteed? Why is Kirk Cousins getting this? Right? You look at all those things, and again, you go into other sports, other leagues, and you're like, what are you doing? The fan base is absolutely going berserk in Dallas, and I don't blame them.
Oh, how could you not? You lost your guy.
You did.
And you look at the return, like, what?
You get the unibrow. You get the unibrow.
The unibrow, yeah.
You just get the unibrow. So speaking of Deshaun Watson, well, I don't think I don't think we're going to go there just yet. Just yet. We have one show left in the season. So we absolutely, before that show, we will go there, Mr. Justin Tucker. We will go there. But I hope that there's more concrete information, because the one thing that we don't do is run with the rumors, right? We don't. We try to give everybody the facts and try to lay it all out, and then give our opinions based off of the facts.
Yes, but we'll say this. That explains why his kicking went sideways during the midway during the season. Obviously, he had a little bit more information during the season as they tried to probably get some money out of him, and all of a sudden he's like, "Wait, you want how much?" And then field goals are going this way and they're going that way. I guess my field goals would be off that way as well.
So yeah, we will hold for that. All right. So Deshaun Watson, they paid him a lot of money. They haven't seen the return. I'm sure if you look at their profit loss statement, you look at that ledger, it's not in a good place.
And he re-tore his Achilles that he was rehabbing, so he's out again for this year or whatever.
So if I'm the Cleveland Browns, what do I do? And now all of a sudden, I look to my guy, and he says, "I want out." Stevie D, Miles Garrett, trade alert. Brandon Bean, if you are not on the phone already, I've already gone over AJ Epinesa, Von Miller, Greg Rousseau. I've gone over all those guys. Get him, please. Get him. Please get him. I don't give him a first rounder this year. Give him the second round this year. That they're at the end of the draft. CBD, I'm not, give him that.
And he's so tradable right now because he's got no guaranteed money left on his contract. So that's all gone. So it's really easy for Cleveland to trade him without any penalties,
Yes.
and maximize their return back because now you can trade him and the new team can work out a new deal. So then he becomes happy with a new deal with the team that trades for him. So it's really a really good win for Cleveland to maximize picks back and for the winning team that gets him. You can negotiate a new contract and then spread the money out the way you need it to work for your program. And Buffalo's got a ton of money, I believe, this offseason.
And I'll give you all that. I will give. This will be like the Herschel Walker trade.
And that's what Cleveland is banking on.
You get this will be the Ricky Williams trade. I will give you everything. All right, because where I am so void of help, we talked about half the reason why we lost is that got nothing up front. That guy right there, 95. Just talk to Kyle Williams, see if you can use 95. Oh,
Yeah.
make it happen.
I mean, think about this. His career stats are right there. 117 games played, 102.5 sacks. Hello, right? You're almost averaging a sack per game.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Hey, Laura. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. There's no doubt. Defensive player.
I am praying that he doesn't go to Buffalo. I don't want him anywhere near Orchard Park. Okay, nowhere near. No, 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 no.
Throw me a little bone. Throw
No,
me a
no,
little
no.
bone.
You had plenty of time to get your job done over there in the AFC. Okay, no, 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 no. I cannot support this. I cannot get on board with this. No way, no how.
Yeah,
I'll be really pissed if he goes to Kansas City. No.
could you imagine that? Could you imagine that?
No, no, no. I could not. I'd get sick.
If he did, Brandon Bean, you'd be fired. I'm telling you, make it happen.
Well, what I don't understand is you wanted him last year. I think the Buffalo Bills tried it, and Cleveland said no. Now it should be a no-brainer if Myles Garrett is saying I want out, and if Buffalo's willing to give the picks. I think it's a no-brainer for Buffalo, and I think Myles Garrett would welcome that trade to Buffalo. Instant winner, winning program. So
Well, you did it with Vaughn, right? You thought that Vaughn was going to be the missing piece. That didn't come to fruition. But now I got a younger guy. I got a guy who's hungry, right? Vaughn had already had 2 championships. I got a guy who's hungry. If it were to happen, I mean, you would not only own Cleveland, you would be part owner of Buffalo.
do you realize what the foundation, what Bills Mafia would donate to charities in Cleveland if they traded Myles Garrett? Cleveland. I mean, you guys donate to so many causes for other teams. Forget it. They build that new wing on that children's hospital. They would, who knows, right? Hell, Cleveland's trying to get a new stadium. They'll probably have funded. A new stadium. You need those renos done? We got you. Oh man, no. I don't like this at all. I don't like this conversation at all. I knew we were going to talk about it, but now that it's out there now, and no.
Well, yeah, I see the pain. It's been reverberating back out. I'm loving it. I really am. Look, just Brandon, do what you have to do.
I would imagine the percentage when you think of teams that could pull off that trade, teams that are contending that could pull off that trade, right? There's a percentage of all the different tiers. Obviously, Buffalo being that top tier that would be able to. So I would imagine the percentage, if you were betting in Vegas, the odds would be pretty darn good for Buffalo to land Myles Garrett. They have the money. They've already explored these trade opportunities before. I'm sure Myles Garrett's going to have a say where he's going to go. I'm sure.
Well, that's my question to you. The NFL doesn't have a no trade clause. We got side conversations going on over on the other side. The Glue and Rob and Joey, they're going at it. But I don't believe there's a no trade clause in the NFL, meaning they can pull the trigger on.
Yes, I think typically what happens is, look, you're going to trade me to a team I don't want to go. I'm going to tell that GM, don't trade for me because I'm not re-signing here, and I'm going to hold out, right? So a player could, in theory, leverage that as the no trade, right, and maybe hurt the value back to the Cleveland Browns. But if Miles signs off on Cleveland, then Cleveland may say, you know what, maybe I can get a little bit extra out of Buffalo, right? So, well, look, I think Miles has done a lot of great things for the city of Cleveland, and I really do believe, as much as it pains the fans of Cleveland, I think when they get it back, like, look, I feel your pain, man. This city can't get out of its own way when it comes to football. I don't blame you wanting to leave. It's not like LeBron. LeBron was the son of Cleveland. Like, that one hurt, and I totally understood that from the city of Cleveland. But Miles wasn't born and raised in Cleveland. But
I love the question, Joey. Love the question. You made him stop mid sentence.
I saw my name up there. I'm like, what's Joey get me in trouble now for? No, I can't sign off on that one, Joey. I mean, I love my brother over there, but I don't know if I can be okay with that one. And you think I want to see that guy twice a year? Oh, no. Oh, no, we're in the market for a right tackle. Oh, my God.
That's what you said about Von Miller. And now you're just like, oh.
Well, Von Miller, the thing about Von Miller was interesting. I laughed internally. I laughed at the 6-year 120 because that's a lot of years and money for an older player. And I think you and I have talked about this on the podcast and off. I think you were hoping for 2 good years out of Von and to get the job done in the first 2 years. After that, it's cut him. At the end of the day, he's probably not going to produce in year 3 or whatever. So, I was any aging player, you never know what you're going to get. And so luckily for the Jets, we got the aging Von Miller that didn't produce. Although I thought he was trending the right way in his first year with Buffalo.
Oh, his first year.
And then he got hurt, right?
Like 8 sacks in 8
yeah.
games. He was absolutely bizarre.
Yeah. So, but no Myles Garrett. No.
Myles Garrett, future.
I mean, you guys are practically neighbors, so Buffalo and Cleveland are not that far away from each other. So for him to come over to Buffalo, I mean, what is he talking about? 100 miles?
Paddle across the lake.
That's it, babe. It's frozen right now. All right, send the hovercraft. Send the hovercraft right over.
So we have Myles Garrett as a future Hall of Famer. With Stevie D, we said we're going to talk about the class of 15, right? And that class of 15, it burns me every time I see this because I know how certain players who are deserving get screwed, right? And so I've heard some rumors that Steve Tasker is finally getting in from the veteran side.
I thought that was a done deal already.
I haven't seen it official. If it is official, then we missed on that to really honor and congratulate him. So if it is, we'll check on that. But I heard rumors of it, and it'll be good. But he should have got in when he made it to this list of 15 because Steve was so deserving. But now we have the class for 2025. Who are going to be those 5 guys that get in? And I'm going to say, folks, when you watch this podcast, we have a mid off season dog days show that is all dedicated to the Hall of Fame. But when we look at the list and when we talk about our Hall of Fame list, first of all, I think that it should be one and done. You've been retired for 5 years. Your stats aren't going to change, right? So either you are or you aren't. And so the debate should be very simple. We also talk about the smell test, right? Do you, if you smell it, is that a Hall of Famer or not? Either way. Now, you could be a really great player. There's been some really great players, Stevie D. But are they truly that top echelon? I've debated, actually, got into a really fun debate with a guy who's in my HR. And we were going back, big sports fan. Surprised me because I'm not around a whole lot of big sports fans. He was rattling stuff off. I was like, oh, listen to him, right? So he's a Broncos fan. And we got to Terrell Davis. Right? I said, nope, can't do it. Cannot do it.
And he said,
absolutely you can. Right? And I know there's a little homerism to that, right? He brought up valid points, but it's not an if. But then I had to be careful because I'm a big Gale Sayers fan.
yeah, that's the argument, right? But I thought Gale Sayers was a lot more productive in his 7 years of football than Terrell Davis was over the length of 7 years.
Which he was. So, we got into that. But overall, when we look at the class of 2025, right, this is this group coming in. I mean, you just look through it, and who are your Hall of Famers, right? Who are the ones that we pick out? Now, I put stars next to the ones that I thought should be, no-brainers that they're going to go in. Fred Taylor, I was a little iffy, but Fred Taylor really...
Dude, Fred Taylor was awesome. Awesome.
Here's the thing with Fred Taylor. Fred Taylor should have been a Buffalo Bill. When Fred Taylor was coming out of the University of Florida, that season, the Jacksonville Jaguars had a guy by the name of Rob Johnson that came in for one game, threw for 300 yards and I think 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And that brain trust at one Bills drive that kept us mired in 17 years said, that's our guy. All the while, Fred Taylor's sitting on the board. So we traded our number 9 pick to
for Rob Johnson?
For Rob Johnson. That's right. Fred Taylor should be a Buffalo Bill. That should be a Buffalo Bill going in the Hall of Fame right there. And I think, by proxy, I'm going to claim Fred Taylor if he gets voted in.
You can't claim somebody who wasn't in your uniform.
But that was my pick.
That's something that you would expect me to say.
It is. You're rubbing off on me.
Art Monk, Jets Hall of Famer. Art Monk played 1 year for the Jets, Hall of Famer. Ed Reed.
You claim them all, don't you?
Hey, all we have to do is suit up one game, and hey, Steve Atwater. I mean, the list can go on of guys that we signed at the end of their career for 1 year, so we can, we have their name, our name is on the plaque.
Oh, look at Rob saying Kuechly is a first ballot. I don't think Kuechly's a first
ballot. Let me tell you
something.
I could not put Luke Kuechly in the Hall of Fame before I put Antonio Gates in the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They could go in together, but Antonio Gates is a Hall of Fame tight end. That one blows my mind on this list, right? I mean, I think you said it right. Suggs. I mean, that's a no-doubter. I mean, that guy was a game changer freaking every year. The guy was unbelievable. The one surprise I'm sorry, Darren Woodson. I don't see it. Adam Vinatieri, right? So let's go, because you mentioned Steve Tasker and special teams, right? I don't know what more a kicker can do to get into the Hall of Fame than have game-winning field goal year after year to win Super Bowls in the ultimate pressure-packed situation. He didn't do it once. He didn't do it twice. I think it was 3 times all in total. He did it.
Look at his uniform on here.
You put the Colts in there. Thank you. not the other team. So I would think that he, whether it's this year or not, he should be in the Hall of Fame. On there. Again, Reggie Wayne, like, again, should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I'm partial, right? A little partial, but Reggie Wayne was as dominant as a wide receiver in the league. And then you got Eli, and this is the one I struggle with. Eli, not a huge Eli guy. I know he won 2 Super Bowls. Maybe he's got to be in the Hall of Fame because he took out the Patriots twice, but I'm just not a big Eli guy.
He's got some numbers.
He does. And surprisingly, he does. You know what he doesn't have is a really good win-loss percentage.
True, very true.
I think he's a 500 quarterback, right around that, maybe 51% wins. It's just interesting that you got 2 Super Bowl victories, 60,000 plus yards passing, whatever he had, and you're a 500 quarterback. And he had 2 runs in the playoffs that were just ridiculous.
But okay, so take that, and we've talked about this, like when we did our top 5. Are you being penalized for the other side of the ball? If I'm putting you in position to win, and you keep giving it up, is that my fault? Am I any less of a Hall?
The Giants had good defenses with Eli Manning.
Fair.
I mean, that front 4 twice. If it wasn't for that front 4, the Giants aren't winning that Super Bowl. Either of them. I mean, from Strahan the first year and those cast of guys with Hugh Manura to Justin Tuck and the rest of the crew. I'm not a big Giant guy, but I know Justin Tuck was a big guy there in the middle. They had some other pass rushers there with the Giants that really dominated the front to throw Tom Brady off because they kept hitting him. Manning made 2 passes in his whole life. Tyree made the catch of the century, and then passed down the sideline to Mario Manningham out of his end zone. It was a beautiful throw. I'll give it to him. But 2 lucky plays, and he's up for the Hall of Fame. I struggle with Eli Manning, and every Giant fan is going to say, you're just jealous. Yeah, I am a little jealous because you got 2 Super Bowls out of him, right? And we don't. But I don't know. It doesn't move the needle for me. Eli Manning, I'm sorry. Just Eli Manning.
If I look at the top row, I definitely Jared Allen. I mean, that to me, that's a no-brainer. But go across, you got Anderson and Evans, great players, right? I just don't know if they're Hall of Fame worthy. You have Antonio Gates. We talked about that. The Antonio Gates selection. So did Gates really usher in the new era of the tight end? You'd be between him and Gonzalez, maybe? Right? But Gates came back, aside from Gonzalez, Gates came back and said, pay me like a wide receiver. Don't pay me like a tight end, right? So he was trying to change the market scale for the tight ends. He was a great tight end. He really was. I just don't know if Antonio Gates was Hall of Fame tight end. And again, for at least from my perspective, CBD, and I think that you agree because we've talked about this. First of all, there's too much that is going on and going into the Hall of Fame, right? And I think that even though players are really good and had really great careers, are you the best of the best, right? Are you on that Mount Rushmore? And to me, that's where the Hall of Fame should live and should always be set. And I told you, mine personally, I'd have 2 rooms in the same building, right? The Hall of Very Good, right? And then you have your Hall of Fame. But your Hall of Fame, that could be fluid.
Just remember that wing has to be down a long hallway, and where you go from the gold section or the bronze section You're going down this long way. Then it turns into like the silver section,
Yes.
right? And you know you're going to a different wing. The air conditioning is not as cold in the summertime, right?
Well,
The heat is not as good in the wintertime.
you got to have one in the basement, right? You walk into the basement, that's your bronze section.
But I mean, it's totally separated. I'm good. Just don't put them anywhere near those. They don't get a bust. They get a plaque. They get a plaque on the wall. They don't get a bust, right?
Ooh, they get their tops card.
Yeah, a top card, a brown.
Russ,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Front and back. Get the stats, and you're ready to go. When you graduate, if you could graduate, that next level, then you get a plaque, and then you get to the platinum, and that is where that gold jacket is.
Like Eric Allen, another outstanding corner for the Eagles.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, to be honest with you, that he's in a final 15, because I didn't look at him as a Hall of Fame corner. And I don't know again, it's hard. I didn't watch him every week. So people in Philadelphia would say you're on drugs, right, Jay? Right? You're crazy. You don't know, whatever. But again, what I saw of Eric Allen, I wouldn't put him up in the upper echelon of corners. But very good football player.
We look at that next row. You got Torrey Holt, Luke Kuechly, Steve Smith Sr. I don't see it for Steve Smith Sr. I really don't. Good player, but are you a Hall of Famer? No, you're not. No. Torrey Holt. I thought Torrey Holt was better than Isaac Bruce. My opinion. It took Bruce a long time to get in. I believe Holt was in my opinion, Holt was a better wide receiver than Isaac Bruce. Does that mean that he gets in? Well, what hurts him? Greatest show on turf, right? And then you have all the receivers that are out now. There's a lot that hurts him. But if I had to do my smell test, I do smell something there, but I'm not sure if that's Hall of Fame or not. But he's, in my opinion, he's close. Go ahead.
No, I like Torrey Holt. You talked about the product of that, but I think the argument can be made that he was one of the reasons why there was the greatest show on turf, right? And his skill set and everything that he brought to that table. Because Isaac Bruce, if I'm not mistaken, was an older player, where Isaac was a much younger player. I mean, Torrey was a younger player, much younger than Isaac Bruce. Honestly, I have Steve Smith a little higher than what you're saying. I thought for his size, and again, you can't put somebody in the Hall of Fame because they're undersized and they played well, right? It's unfair to the big guys that played. But he played with an intensity and a nastiness about him because of his size, and I thought he really maximized everything when he was on that field. And I thought he was again, Hall of Fame worthy. Again, I actually like him more than Torrey Holt, to be honest with you.
So there's a little debate going on with the chat, and Rob is trying to make a stand. You are nuts, Rob. You are nuts. Kuechly did not get a torch passed to him for Ray Lewis. Kuechly was a good player, sure. But I'm going to tell you this. There were 3 linebackers down in New Orleans, and for some of our younger viewers.
Oh, those 3 linebackers.
And if the glue is still on, he knows. Those guys didn't get their just due. And they were better than Kuechly.
Now it's Pat Swilling, Ricky Jackson,
and Sam Mills.
Sam Mills, the late Sam Mills.
That's right. Kuechly, don't get me wrong, Kuechly was a solid player. He really was. He was a good player. He's not Hall. If I have to smell it, Kuechly is not getting into the Hall. There's nothing's coming up, Stevie D. Nothing at all for Kuechly.
I was not a big Zach Thomas from the Dolphins. That was his last name, Thomas, Zach Thomas.
Zach Thomas. Yeah.
Now, yes, my hatred because he played in Miami, but I was not a big Zach Thomas fan as a linebacker. Some people absolutely loved him.
Undersized.
Yeah, right. Is the undersized linebacker. I didn't care for Zach Thomas, and I'm going to say probably there was some of that bias of not liking Miami, but and it took him a while to finally get into the Hall of Fame. But I put Kuechly in for me with Zach Thomas. Like, you were very, very good. I don't know if I'd put you in the Hall of Fame good.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right, let's go to the bottom row. We talked about Vinatieri. Vinatieri, it'll be interesting. It will be interesting because I do think there's a couple things I think in play. I think Steve Tasker and his admission for so long into the Hall of Fame started to shine a light on the special teamers. I really do. I believe it because it was always a debatable topic, and it was hard for them to really come back with a real good explanation as to why. Right? You ask, what are some of the qualifications to get in? Well, you got to be a game changer, right? You got to be a guy that redefines the position. You got to be a guy that is dominant, that is in, no doubt, that is in that role.
Can I say something on that? Because I've said it multiple times on the podcast, and I feel like I have to say for Steve Tasker because I'm not a Buffalo guy, right? But when a guy reinvents the position or creates a position on the 53. Now, some people will say it was Bill Bates with the Cowboys. No, it wasn't Bill Bates with the Cowboys. Bill Bates was a safety that also played special teams. I know Tasker was a wide receiver. Tasker, at some point in his career, turned into we have to have a special teams roster spot on the 53, where other teams leveraged players that can do multiple spots.
Yep.
So they didn't dedicate a position on the 53 like they did for Steve Tasker. That is game changing. You change the NFL on how the NFL looks at the roster. By definition, that is welcome to the Hall of Fame because you did something that hasn't been done. You now forever change the league in that fashion. Matthew Slater, great special teams player for 16 years. You don't exist unless Steve Tasker played in the NFL. Larry Izzo, again, you made your spot on special teams. Would you have gotten that spot without a Steve Tasker paving that way of allowing that to be a spot on the 53?
That's a debatable point now. In fairness, right? Tasker by trade was wide receiver, but we all know that his true role was special teamer, right? So I mean,
Steve Tasker was a wide receiver, but I got to be honest with you, I didn't see Steve Tasker making a lot of catches out there.
He got a couple touchdowns out there, just a couple, just a couple. UT 89, little guy out there, but your point is well taken, right? And especially when you look at the Slaters of the world. Would these guys have a role? They would find a way, right, to get the guy, just like the Bills found a way to have Tasker on there, right? You were the fifth or sixth wide receiver. But more to your point, the mentality and the thinking of the team was that we need this guy for special teams because he makes us that much better, that much of a threat. And you're spot on with that. So
special teams play more in an NFL team's success than given credit for. Whether you're a kicker or a punter or you're the guy going down the field to make the tackle. It is big time. Well, yes, and Hester's in the hall because of the touchdowns and the kick returns, right? It's we have to recognize these and don't say, well, they're only on the field 3% of the time. Okay? Their impact when they're on the field is felt, right? Because if it wasn't important, they wouldn't have it in the game at all. You wouldn't have special teams at all, right? It's an important part of the game.
But let's kind of bring this back a little bit, right? Because we're heading to Vinatieri. The reason why I brought Tasker is that Tasker really opened up the debate because you didn't get a lot of special teamers, right? You had your Ray Guys. How long did Ray Guy stand on, waiting for that call? And Ray Guy was one of the best punters in there, right? And we've had kickers, place kickers, that have come through that should have been in. And to your point, they would say, well, you're only on the field for 3 or 4 plays, right? But if I got a kicker who's money, or if I have a special teamer who I know can block kicks, who can get down the field and disrupt, the return game. If I got a guy like that, he's an integral part just as much as my edge rusher or my running back or wide receiver. When we look at Vinatieri, I won't say had the big leg, right?
No,
The
right.
will wow you type of thing. But his consistency, and especially in the big games, that you can't overlook. And Steve Tasker putting the special teamers on that podium helps Vinatieri really get that shine that he is due. Because I will tell you that without all the debate for the special teamers, does Devin Hester really get in? I mean, we saw guys that were game changers back in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, Billy White Shoes Johnson, game changer. Never will sniff it, right? Devin Hester got that, right? And so now you're Vinatieri has a legitimate shot. I don't think he gets in just yet. In the way the NFL does it, that's okay. Plenty of time, right? But I don't think he gets in just yet. But I do think he'll get the nod, right?
I would honestly, I'd be shocked if he didn't get in.
Okay, so then that would be a start changing. Who do you give up? Fred Taylor?
I just think that yeah, like a Fred Taylor would go take a backseat to a Vinatieri just because Fred Taylor had a very great career, right, Hall of Fame career, but Vinatieri won championships on the leg, and he kicked game-winning field goals in the playoffs in mountains of snow, which are not easy kicks to make in blizzards, and he did it. And so I think his impact on the game on the biggest stage will trump Fred Taylor. I believe Fred Taylor is a Hall of Famer. When I was in Jacksonville, I got into many conversations with the Jaguar fans over there. They all were clamoring because he was up on the board. They talked about it for the Hall of Fame, right? And so it brought in conversation amongst the fans during the game. So it just, I feel for Fred Taylor. I just think this one, if you had to figure who's going to be the odd man out on something, Fred Taylor would be the odd man out for somebody like Vinatieri. In my view, I could see that happening. If he didn't get in Vinatieri again, and Fred Taylor did great, like you said, Vinatieri's not going to go away. It's just a matter of time. It's sometimes you get that backlog, and sometimes you got to clear out the backlog in certain areas to open it back up for others because it's just.
Well, that's what happened with the wide receivers. For the longest time, you didn't see the receivers get in, and then finally they started to explode.
Because the offensive line get their due, right? But look, Anderson good, Evans good. Yanda, I got to be honest with you, I don't even know who that ringing guy is. So that's shame on me because it looks like he played for what, the Ravens. Sorry, Craig. I mean, I just never heard of the guy, right? So I can't put him in the Hall of Fame, but the linemen get a lot of love, and they should. They do a lot of dirty work up front. There's no doubt. But we do have to clear out some of these folks to allow their just due that have been waiting a little bit longer.
And then the last name we have on there, Stevie D, that to talk about, and just real quick, I think Darren Woodson missed his window. I really.
Oh, you really thought he was a Hall of Fame guy?
No, but I think he missed his window to get in. I'm surprised he made it this far. You had all those Cowboys going in, right? And
Cowboy fatigue.
Well, in a way, I look at it like Cornelius Bennett, right? The Cornelius and Woodson, I think, are maybe on the same line. Great players, right? But when you have your entire team go in, then it gets really hard. Daryl Talley, another one. Daryl Talley should be in, right? What he did, but it's one of those things where you get too many, and it's hard for that same newspaper writer to keep sitting in front of the entire group to make the case and for everybody to listen to. All right, Stevie D. I know we were trying to cut this back, so I don't want to rush it, but let's just go ahead and jump to it. So this is really for Jay. Um, Jay, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for guys wearing black and white striped shirts. Okay, that's the only thing I can tell you. If you want any chance of winning, be on the lookout for those guys. DVD.
Look, Jay, I hope they do it for you, but I think the reality is, we're doing predictions yet or no?
Yeah, kind of.
So I'm rooting for the Eagles, for you, Jay. But I think the reality of it is, uh, until somebody can take them out, I say the Chiefs are going to win. Until you knock them off, they're too good in one possession games. There's a stat that came out that just blew my mind. Okay, in the playoffs, with a minute to go or less in the playoffs, Tom Brady is 5 for 11 or 12, 5 for 12 in those situations in the playoffs in his career. I forget the other quarterback days. Oh, Drew Brees, 3 for 6 out of Drew Brees. Patrick Mahomes is 7-0. Okay, 7-0. If you're not up by 2 scores, Jay, you better not be giving the ball back to Kansas City, because this team just knows how to win. And there's the old saying: in order to be the man, you got to beat the man. Well, nobody has taken this team out, and so until somebody proves to me they can do it, I'm riding with. From a prediction standpoint, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. They've been in every scenario you can think of, right? In their playoff life in the last 5 or 6 years, where they've been down by 20 points in the second quarter to the Houston Texans, right? To having to come back on the last drive of the game to win a game, right? Their record this year in one possession games is insane. How can you go against a team that's that kind of tested? And for me, it's hard to pick against. If I was a betting person, referees aside, tongue in cheek, referees aside, I don't know how I could go against the Kansas City Chiefs if I was a betting individual.
So how do I put this? I am pulling for Philadelphia. I am. Of
I don't
course,
know, but it says Vince in red, and the Chiefs are red, so I'm confused. See, my name is in green, so I just you know.
fair enough. Again, mine's the Gatorade color, so don't worry about it. But yeah, I'm going for the Eagles. What concerns me is what I said that beat the Bills in the AFC Championship game. It's coaching, and I look on both sidelines, and Sirianni doesn't do it for me. When I look at Andy Reid and Spags, they do it for me, right? They are
Their
you
heartbeat
give it,
goes down
and
in
you
those
get two
moments.
weeks. They're getting 2 weeks. When I look at the Eagles are going to go only as far as Saquon can take them. Not with Jalen Hurts, right? Not with Smith. Not they're no, it's not going to happen. It's what Saquon can do. And now you've given Spags 2 weeks to design and to get that defense ready to shut down Saquon. Now, will it happen? That's the question, right? This game will hinge, in my opinion, on what Saquon Barkley can do. Case closed. The Chiefs had a very suspect. I'm not gonna say suspect, but they were not great in the run defense, and so that goes to the side of Philly. But again, if you're giving Spags 2 weeks, can he game plan for one guy? That's all you got to do. They've all said it, right? All the greats. I take away your best asset. All the rest. All right, Jalen, go beat me. I wish you would get into a matchup against Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes. Even though Mahomes doesn't have the same level of weapons, maybe, but I wish that would happen. And so my heart is really saying take the Eagles because I don't want I don't want the Chiefs to win because they shouldn't be there. That's why. Right. So as a Bills fan, you don't deserve to be there. But I just don't see Philadelphia being able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I just don't. I will be rooting, and maybe if I pull for the Chiefs, maybe the Eagles will win. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know, right? So, yeah, I got to think about that. That will be very hard. Ken, yes, the glue, yes, guys, you that may be the only time you hear that statement, but trying to figure out a way to reverse the mojo, and if that's what I have to do, Stevie D, that's what I'm going to do. So,
Again, excellent point you brought up on the coaching side, right? From Nick to Andy to Spagnola versus Kellen Moore. Spags has been there before. This is the biggest moment for Kellen Moore in his career, anywhere, whether his professional or his coaching career. How do you handle those big moments as a coach? We know how Spags going to handle it. His heart rate's going to slow down. Oh God, here we go. Sean, you're killing me. Sean, you're killing me. We were moving past this with the refs. Now this is gonna get. Oh boy. Okay, so I do think that with the coaching edge is so big, it's bigger. It's bigger because coaching has a lot to do with it. So I think that when it comes down to it, will Kellen Moore call the right play? Will he get conservative? Because in a big moment, whether it's the second quarter, third, or fourth quarter, how does he handle that? Is to be seen for sure. So I you're right there, Vince. I know you're yeah, yeah, yeah. Whew. All right. Are you going to respond? You just going to let go? You going to just navigate? Serenity now. Serenity now.
Serenity now. Serenity now.
Hell later. Destruction later.
Sean, I'm going to say something similar to what we talked about earlier in the show tonight. We talked about Roger Goodell and his statement. We talked about the officials in their statement. All I'm going to say, this statement right here speaks volumes from a Kansas City Chief supporter. The fact that you had to put those words on the screen means you already know the truth. And that little two-line justification, that's all I need. Stevie D, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm actually happy that Sean put that up there. I appreciate that because sometimes it's what you say through the words that you don't say. So thank you. I very much appreciate that. Now, you are correct that we should have run the ball more in the fourth, and thus we get back to this game. And really, what is Philly going to do? Um, it could go either way. I'm not going to hedge my bet. I don't think that Philly will. I don't think that Philly will do enough in order to overcome playing you those things. I am going to be pushing. I'm pushing for Philly for more than one reason. Right? Everybody thinks it's because of the hatred for
Saquon.
Kansas City. Oh no, 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 no! It's because I want to see John Mara. I want to see Saquon get Super Bowl MVP, and I want that camera to flash to John Mara, and then flash to Joe Shane, and let's see what happens there. I wonder if they're going to have a little Super Bowl party. Because I know Mara's not going to. I know he's not going down to Louisiana, and Joe Shane better not go to Louisiana. I wonder if they're together having a Super Bowl party. Hey, I'll bring the dip. I'll bring the wings. Oh yeah.
If we can just stay with Saquon for a second, I watched a video of Saquon's highlights throughout his career from Penn State to all the way to the Eagles. And if Jay's out there, like to watch Saquon all year for the Eagles must have been amazing because his highlight clips that I saw just on some of the runs that he had with the Eagles this year, he had multiple runs that were you thought you were playing Madden in the moves that he made throughout the course of the year. The shifting left and right and ankle breaking to obviously the spins to the reverse spin jump. I mean, he probably had a good 6 or 7 runs with the Eagles this year that you were just saying, man, I'm using a joystick to make those moves because as a defender, you're like, oh, that doesn't happen. Now I can't use that line anymore. We're saying Madden is fake because Saquon has done everything that I used to yell at the TV screen when the computer did it against me. It's like that's BS. Now it's in the game, and so for the Giants to let him walk out the door to save $6 million, man, does that look awful after him gaining 2,000 yards, leading his team to him leading the team to the Super Bowl, not the other way around with the quarterback Jalen Hurts. No disrespect to Jalen Hurts, Saquon led that team to the Super Bowl. I don't know how Mara can go into the office and how I would on the weekend bring in a construction crew to rip down the walls just so I can just stare at John Mara from Joe Shane walking in the door, and he can just see me with my beady eyes looking right at him.
They have fed heads all over the place,
right?
With him in his vest.
Because it was said it best. And you want to talk about like a script? Everybody likes to use the word script in the NFL. I mean, to have that happen on Hard Knocks, right? And Mara saying, I won't be able to sleep if he goes to the Eagles. And Joe Shane is kind of like laughing at his owner. Like, ha, 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 ha. And then the guy rushes for 2,000 yards. And now he's going for the record for most yardage in a given season in the Super Bowl of any player in the history of the game. And he sat out a game because, well, again, it's game 17, and he sat out a game. It's crazy. No, agreed. Absolutely agreed. Absolutely agreed, right? But that's the choice they made, though, right, Craig? Like, they chose Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley. I mean, just
who they ended up cutting later on in the year.
And everybody knew it. It didn't take podcast folks like ourselves or casual football fans to know, wait a minute, you kept Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley? Like, come on, Giants. When you could have gotten out of that deal. You could have so gotten out of that deal. That's the amazing part. You could have gotten out of that deal with Daniel Jones and kept Saquon Barkley. And you know what? Figure out your quarterback position over the next year, and maybe in line to draft your future quarterback.
Yep.
Knowing that you have Saquon under contract, and what's a rookie's quarterback's best friend? Saquon Barkley. So it's just funny because when you think about what they sold,
who was Daniel Jones' best friend when he was ready to sign that contract? A healthy Saquon Barkley.
Right, sure. Right. That's what got him that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a great call out, too. I couldn't help it happen to a better organization like the New York Giants. So, I mean, I'm loving life that this is happening because this is the stuff that happens with my organization. And I can't, I mean, believe me, there's left to poke a lot of holes at the Jets. But it's nice to see John Mara. I'm not going to be happy if he goes to the Eagles. I'm not going to be happy. And Joe Shane's laughing. I mean, I know we got that clip somewhere. I think that's where you're going with it. I mean,
I was laughing inside because we started the show talking about Nico Harrison, and I made the statement: GMs make some really dumb moves, right? And you come back into our league, and we wonder, and we closed the show with a GM who made a really dumb move, right? And now he's got to hang everything on that move. And, you chose wrong when, you had the opportunity to at least explore that opportunity for Jaden Daniels. You said, no, we're good. We're good. Okay. Okay. I hope you are good.
I mean, it's just the ultimate fu back to the Giants with Saquon. Like you just didn't have a year. Like 1,400 yards would have been even a big ha to the Giants at 14. Did you rush for 2,000? I mean, that is just, oh my God.
What's worse? What's worse? What could be his end of the year total stat total, or the fact that he sat out week 17 or week 18 against the Giants where he could have broke the record? What's worse? Because as the Giants, he was going to run it up by him. And the fact that he didn't, that's almost a backhand slap in the face, right? So I don't know which was worse. That's almost showing pity to them. Nah, we're good. We're good. I'll let my guy rest.
I mean, he had a game where, hey, I think you need like 13 yards to break your career high. You want back in?
Giants.
Yeah. Let the kids eat, I think he said. Let the kids eat, I think was his words.
Against the Giants.
Oh, was that against the Giants? Okay.
Against the Giants. Another slap in the face, right? He was going berserk. Going berserk. Oh, that was good stuff. We had some good stuff this year, right? We really did in the NFL. Again, this is we have one week left in the season, right? We're going to come back, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll see what happens next year. Obviously, we'll be back next week to talk about who won, who lost. Saquon, where going to Disney, that would be nice. That would be nice, Saquon, right? And not as being voted by as having like a 400-yard game, as somebody said, right? But still losing. Hopefully, you win that game. But it'll be fun next season. Stevie D, I know you mentioned on our last show internships, right? So we've been digging into that. If anybody knows of somebody who may be interested in an internship, we can explore those possibilities. Definitely look in that. Plus, it's a way of us giving back, right? So it works both ways. We're also talking about sponsorships, right? So that's a good thing. And
Right on the wall, right there. If you know somebody who wants a sponsorship, or you have a company that you want to sponsor, we have spots on the wall for you for your logo and about your company. So
right.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that we're looking at as we go into what will be season 8. Season 8. Are we gonna make it to 10?
Well, if the Jets don't kill me before then, yeah, I like to say we get to 10.
If we get to 10, we're gonna have a party.
Oh yeah.
Joey, Craig, Rob, Sean.
Vegas.
We got some new ones coming in. Laura, we got some new ones. Terry, old school Terry. Alex, right? We're bringing everybody.
Alex is in. Alex will go anywhere. Alex is in.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's trying to talk me into going to London. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to probably do the Tampa game and the New Orleans game. Yeah, it sounds good. I'm in. It's like, yeah, but let's go to London. I'm like, dude, I can't go to every game. Like, just go to London. So, he's good. You just tell him where to go. Alex will show up. So,
and of course, we have to include my convert, Nesmita. Oh yeah, she has a Josh Allen jersey. Has a Josh.
Okay. She's got a Josh Allen jersey. Who bought it?
She did.
No, but BS. Calling it. I don't believe it. Don't believe it for a second.
It was on. It was on her Christmas. It was on her Christmas list.
No, not buying it. Sorry.
It was on her Christmas list, and so she's got that.
Text me her phone number. I'm calling her right now to get it right now.
I think she's watching. She can tell you if she types it. She can tell you. Yep, that was on my list. And now she's starting to get down with James Cook too. She likes James Cook. So things are going in the right direction. That's all I gotta say. Things are going in the right direction. All right, season 8's going to be great. Oh boy, loving it. And
I have to give you credit. I did see. I don't know if I told you. I had to go to the store early this morning after I dropped the dog off to get groomed, and I was at a Target, and lo and behold, there's only 2 people in the store, and this lady was with a knit Buffalo Bills hat. So I did want to tell you that I did see that today.
Thank you.
So
I try to tell you, we're all over the place. We're everywhere. And kudos to her. Kudos to her.
in this town, wearing the Buffalo one, absolutely.
Territory. That's how we roll. That is how we roll. Kudos to her. I'm proud of you. Proud of you. You shake out her name, had her watch the podcast, maybe even brought her on, right? Because somebody like that is the epitome of Bill's Mafia.
She had this look on her face like she was not very happy. She had like
look what happened last week.
So I wasn't gonna get like hit at. She takes the bag and swings it at me because I got jet stuff on or something like that. Just risk versus reward, Rent, right? I weighed the option coming home with a black eye. I don't know.
Fair enough. All right. Well, to the rest of the NFL, the Chiefs will hopefully. You think we're going to close the show like that? No.
We could do the Jets chant if you like. We could do that to end the show.
Yeah,
we haven't heard that in a while.
Usually that comes upon, great things, success.
We got our coaching staff. Success.
You know what?
Thank you. I know that was painful to do, so thank you. I know what you're going to end with, so.
No, I'm not. I'm actually going to end with. We have a trade. I'd like to announce the trade.
Oh, here we go. For Travis Hunter.
The Buffalo Bills have traded the number 30 pick to the Cleveland Browns in exchange with pick number 60, pick number 65, and whatever other picks that you have for Myles Garrett. Oh, yes. And then I hear Kuiper and I hear all of them go off and say, well, Bean got his man. He got it done. Yes. That's a lot to give up, but it's well worth it. That feels so much.
Good way to end the show tonight.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap this one up. Thank you to everybody for the participation. Love you guys. Appreciate it. We have a good time doing this. So we're going to keep going. Again, one more show for this season. Then we're going to kind of go on a little mini hiatus, recharge the batteries a little bit. And then we'll be back better, stronger than ever. And we appreciate everybody. So you do have all of our social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. Of course, YouTube. And then mailbag. Questions, ideas, suggestions. If you know anybody who, as we talked about, for potential internship, if you know anybody that's in school or has a desire for it, let us know. You can send it to mailbag@owsports.net. And if you know anybody who's interested in sponsoring, be a sponsorship, you can send that mailbag@owsports.net. So, Stevie D, I think that's going to wrap this one up. So, for my co-host Stevie D, I'm Vince. We'll talk to you soon.
What you gonna listen to? Oh, love on this sports. What you gonna listen to? Oh, love on this sports. Sit back, relax. Vince and Stevie D are gonna break it down about the team from their hometown. Josh the Keon, touchdown. Rodgers to Wilson, touchdown. You gonna laugh, you gonna cry, but these two are ride or die. They'll take you all the way to the Super Bowl or the exhibition game. Stay with them all the way to the Hall of Fame.